I changed my mind. 2022 is not the year of play-to-earn games. In the NFT space, it's pretty common that you'll hear someone say we're early, but in this case, we're actually too early, as a lot of the play-to-earn games are lackluster at best. Now, for those of you who've watched my channel for the last few months, I was actually really excited about the concept of play-to-earn and how many investors in the crypto and NFT space think that gaming is the obvious next frontier for NFT technology. While I still think that's likely, after playing some of the top earning play-to-earn games this year and trying out a handful of other ones, I can say with confidence that these are nowhere near ready for mainstream adoption. I can also say with confidence that if you aren't in our private membership group yet, you should totally check it out in this link right here. Every single month, I post my NFT calendar with the best NFT projects dropping that month. We also have group calls, analyst callouts for new trending projects, and so much more. Click the link here or link down below and we'll see you guys in there. But here is the truth about play-to-earn games. The truth about play-to-earn games is they are great if you're super early. The only people that I've actually seen walk away with great profits are the ones that went in very hard, very early on, play the game, get ahead, yield lots of tokens, and then sell their NFT characters at or near the top of the hype when all the NFTs are the most valuable. This way, these holders can profit by flipping the NFTs, and they can also cash in on the token yield of the game for something more stable like Ethereum. However, if you are not early or you hold the bag for too long, you're probably going to have the same fate as most other people. And that includes myself because I've lost a considerable amount of money in play-to-earn NFT games so far. Let's look at every notable play-to-earn game that's come out in the past year or so. Axie Infinity, Raid Party, Eternal Elves, Steppen, Alluvium, Metroverse, Ether Orcs. Many, if not all of these, have the same or similar trajectory. They start out with some buzz in the space, they get a small hype cycle going, which usually lasts between 1 and 4 or 5 months, which pumps the floor price of the NFTs that are used to play the game, but eventually the floor price of these NFTs falls as the interest dwindles and the token yield becomes way less fruitful to players. Not all of these play-to-earn games are exactly equal though, and each one has a different pitfall that seems to be the reason that they decline over time. In some cases, the tokenomics are just not great, and the tokenomics, if you don't know, are basically the economy of the token behind the game that kind of runs the ecosystem. One example of this would be Cold-Blooded Creeps, which at one point hit a 9 Ethereum floor for the original Creeps, and the Lumi token, which it had a high of 60 cents. But what happened here is that they created too many NFTs. They were able to yield more tokens. In other words, these NFTs were able to generate more tokens too easily and quickly for players, which then drained all of the value from their game token, again, which was Lumi, and saw a peak of 60 cents, but as of today is currently worth more or less zero. Actually zero. In other cases, the game itself is just incredibly tedious and not fun to play, to be honest. For a lot of people, the game idea is more or less a get-rich-quick idea that players tend to have, and as soon as you spend a few weeks playing, you realize how much of a pipe dream that tends to be. Now, I don't want to throw shade at any specific game, but I know this firsthand, specifically from playing Eternal Elves. In my opinion, I was relatively early to that game, but clearly early is not early enough in most cases. You basically need to be prehistoric. And the truth is, some of the members in my alpha group, like I said, join up here, like Wizard, who is my head moderator, he has 22 elves. And to my knowledge, he's one of the biggest players in the game still as of this day. But if you look at the floor chart of this project, you can see here that it's gone down significantly from its peak around 0.8 or 0.7 Ethereum. And unfortunately for me, I bought a few elves around a 0.6 floor, and then I recently sold them somewhere around 0.2, 0.25, and I lost about 70% of that investment, even after playing the game for about 2 months. Now, in hindsight, as of right now, I'm happy that I sold them because the floor has dropped considerably more since then. The token for this project is called Ren, and for me personally, with my 7 elves and doing constant treks, constant campaigns, playing the game constantly, it was never worth enough for me to cash out any substantial amount. You can also see with the Ren coin here, it's gone down over time, not nearly as bad as Cold-Blooded Creeps, so the tokenomics of this game are a little bit better, but you can see that again, the rens lost value over time, and so the token yield is worth less and less as players play the game. So it's safe to say, in my circumstance and a couple other people in my group that also played the game religiously, some of them had up to 40 elves at one point, most of us lost money in the game to my knowledge. Now, to make things worse, the game felt more like an addictive chore than a game. And this is, again, my subjective opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But in this case, the game is very bare bones. It's basically just a UI where you send your elves on campaigns, but you're not actually doing anything to play. It's more of a time-consuming game and a strategy or decision-making game than anything else. Now, for some other games, the UI and the team behind the game just isn't anywhere close to a AAA blockbuster game that most people are used to playing. And I'm not saying you only have to play AAA games. There's a lot of great games like Among Us or other small mini games or indie games that come out that are a lot of fun. But these games here in the play-to-earn NFT space right now are not even comparable to that. Let's take a look at another game I invested heavily in from day one, and that is Freaks and Guilds. I would say I put a solid ETH or two into buying a dozen or 2 dozen of these NFTs to play this game, and believe it or not, I've yielded a ton of their token Freak Bucks, over like 500,000 Freak Bucks, but at this moment that's worth absolutely nothing. And to my knowledge, even though I haven't kept up a ton lately, this game really never got going to begin with. It could be the 10,000 supply that was too much in the beginning. As you see with these other games, 10,000 supply seems to be on the high end. Most of these games have between a 2,000 and 5,000 supply for their genesis, and then sometimes release a later collection to incorporate into the ecosystem once there's that stability. But this project released 10,000 supply from day one, and I think that in combination with the lack of popularity or simply the lackluster UI or user experience was just not enough. So I'm not fully sure why this game failed or isn't going anywhere, but I can say with confidence that my entire investment is basically poof. Lastly, most of these games that do get traction are usually wildly overinflated due to the hype that they bring along with them. Let's look at one of the biggest games in recent history this year, Raid Party. This game had a huge amount of hype and launched in the very pico top of the NFT bull run. You even have a ton of massive whales like Pranksy playing this game. And to be fair, the whales probably made a decent amount of money, but that just gets fed off on a lot of other players that didn't make as much or lost money. As an example, my friend Brandon actually dropped $50,000 on Raid Party, so although I wouldn't consider him a whale, he definitely was someone who was early on and dropped a lot of money to play hardcore. And as we talked about on this podcast that I did, he still lost money.
No, I have fun with it.
Keep note, that clip is from late March, early April, so this is before Raid Party really fell off. And he was still already expecting and more or less losing money. So I definitely think there's a bit of a ways to go before play-to-earn or NFT games grasp a hold of more players and flow into the mainstream of games. That's not to mention that the gaming scene right now as a whole is very anti-NFT. I'm not sure the broad mainstream of gamers understand what the value behind NFT technology is and how that gives more ability to the gamers to own their own in-game assets, but that's beside the point. The truth is they don't want to play these games right now, and there's probably good reason for that. I think what has to happen here is we have to wait a bit more time for bigger studios to come in and develop some great games that also happen to have NFT technology integrated. Let's be honest here, as a gamer, the game needs to be fun before anything else happens, because that's what gets people playing and talking about the games they're playing. Additional benefits like earning through the in-game ecosystem, owning your in-game assets, and being able to make more investment decisions should really just be beneficial byproducts of what the main focus of the game is, which is the game itself. Is the game fun? If yes, there's a chance this can work. If the game is focused on earning money and no one's there to play the game for fun, it kind of defeats the purpose of gaming in the first place. Now, regardless of all this, I will continue to keep my eyes and ears wide open for new games that come out and push the envelope forward. One game I'm personally super excited to see is My Pet Hooligan, which should be launching right around the time this video comes out. It's probably one of the top NFT collection play-to-earn teams in the space right now, and given the fact that their NFT has held a pretty stable floor price around 1 Ethereum over several months and has not followed the trajectory of these other games that I've mentioned makes me more confident that this game has potential. Some of the members in my alpha group also have interest in My Pet Hooligan, and that's a good sign because it's historically accurate that my group has been pretty successful in picking some big winners. So again, hit that link if you want to join. NFT calendar, access to private group calls, analyst callouts, and just a lot of great alpha that you're going to need in the space to find those hot NFTs. With that being said, see you guys in there. Have a great day.